As you can see from the video, this is a straightforward case about discrimination. Vermont's Fair Housing and Public Accommodations Law sets some basic ground rules that all businesses must follow if they're going to be open to the public. The law says that if you want to operate a business in Vermont, you cannot refuse to serve a customer because of race, creed, color, national origin, marital status, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. The purpose of our law is to protect the basic American values of equality and fairness and ensure that no one in Vermont is turned away from a store, a restaurant, or a resort because of who he or she is. The public accommodations law is not a new law. Vermont has prohibited businesses from discriminating on the basis of sexual orientation since 1992. Unfortunately, we think that the sad facts of Kate and Ming's experience outlines a clear-cut violation of Vermont's public accommodations law. As you saw, in preparation for getting married in Vermont this fall, Kate and Ming had Ming's mom help them find a place for the reception here in Vermont. And as any parent would be, Cheney was overjoyed to help plan the celebration. In October, when Cheney began her search for a place to host the reception, she was contacted through the Vermont Convention Bureau by the Wildflower Inn in Lyndonville in response to her request for information about where to host the reception. And the inn wrote to her that the place would be the perfect location to host Kate and Ming's reception. Shortly after that, Cheney spoke by telephone with the representative of the Wildflower Inn to discuss details about the reception. And during the conversation, the Wildflower Inn employee made reference to the bride and the groom, and Cheney corrected her and told her that there would be 2 brides. And of course, a few minutes after she got off the phone, Cheney received an email from a Wildflower Inn employee with the subject line, "Bad News." And it told her that Kate and Ming were not welcome at the inn. The email read, in part, "After our conversation, I checked in with my innkeepers, and unfortunately, due to their personal feelings, they do not host gay receptions at our facility." And that was that. No service for gay customers looking to celebrate a major life event. There is no personal belief exception to our public accommodations law. Business owners in Vermont are not free to decide that the law doesn't apply to them, and they may not substitute their own biases in place of the requirement that all customers be treated equally. In fact, our law has just 2 very narrow exceptions, and neither applies to the situation. The first permits the owner of an inn with 5 or fewer rooms to discriminate on the basis of sex or marital status. This exemption doesn't apply, of course, because Wildflower Inn has more than 5 rooms, and Ming and Kate were discriminated against on the basis of their sexual orientation. The second exemption, which also does not apply, permits a religious organization or a nonprofit operated by a religious organization to discriminate against persons seeking services related to the solemnization of marriage and the celebration of a marriage. This exemption also doesn't apply because the Wildflower Inn is not a religious organization. It's not a nonprofit operated by a religious organization. In fact, it's a privately owned for-profit multi-million-dollar business. I'd like to introduce you to Cheney Peters, who will make a short statement, and Cheney will be followed by Ming and Kate, and we'll have some time for questions.